Hello, my name is Per Anders, and this is my story on restoring a Piper L4J Grasshopper back to its original 1944 state as a true warbird. I picked up the aircraft looking like this, and it had been in Norway ever since 1947, and we restored it back to its original state as a US Army warbird. But this is also a story about great friendship and all the fantastic people I came across during this project. I guess it all started growing up with my father, who was a keen PPL pilot, and he bought this beautiful 1976 Cessna Cardinal. He flew it back all the way from Mississippi to Oslo, and ever since then I basically grew up in this plane, and later I started flying it myself. But after flying a couple of hundred hours high and fast, I joined this group of 10 people in this L4J, and I saw the pleasures of flying low and slow, and ever since then I have looked for my own project to restore. The airplane was last restored by Helge back in 1980, and these are some of his photos that I've been able to scan, and it's a great reference to have. I picked the airplane up from an owner in the north part of Norway. He had been using it as an agriculture plane, and this is how it appeared when I made the pre-buy inspection. And it had not been airborne since 2002. I picked the airplane up and brought it down to my local airport, Kjeller, which is partly civilian and military, just north of Oslo, Norway. In fact, this is one of the oldest airports around the world still in operation. And I enthusiastically started the project with great support from the family, and very soon I tore the old fabric of the airplane because we wanted to do an X-ray to make sure that the frame was okay before we put any further time and money into this project. Very few people today know what great importance this plane had during World War II. It was the eyes of the artillery, and even though it was unarmed most of the time, it would direct artillery fire with great precision, but it would also do a whole lot of other very important missions, such as supplies of medical equipment, even evacuation of wounded soldiers, and so on. I contacted the Air Force Historical Research Agency in America. They were extremely helpful, and based on the serial number of this aircraft, they were able to obtain its military records. Now, the records does not really show a whole lot of interesting information because very few activities were logged on these light aircraft. But we know that it was handed over to the US ground forces in France between Christmas and New Year 1944, and that the aircraft served in the front lines until it was sold to Norway in 1947 as surplus material. The engine is a 90 horsepower Continental 4-cylinder engine, and it is not the original engines that were used in these aircraft during the war. They were only 65 horsepower. Taking an airplane apart is actually the easy part of a restoration project, and if I had known all the work ahead of me, I don't know if I would have been smiling so widely at this part of the project. But getting the plane back to my house and in the garage was a big advantage, because I was able to put in a couple of hours every night instead of just weekends at the airport. So the frame was scrubbed down and given a coat of new primer and paint. But even with great help from small skilled hands, I needed some more information, and so I joined the Uniware annual Piper Restoration Seminar held in Denver, United States. And this is a seminar that Clyde Smith, the Cub Doctor, holds on an annual basis. And that was really a great start to the restoration project, and I got a lot of information and good answers over there in Denver. I decided to do the spray painting of the aircraft in the hangar, and thanks to my wife we were able to wash out and clear the hangar and make it ready for the paint job. The actual paint job was done with great help from Per Esser and his paint guy Dalius. And one of the really strange coincidences I came across in this project is that Per, who helped with the painting and the sandblasting, his father was in fact ME-109 pilot on the German side on the Eastern Front during World War II. And who knows if he has even seen some of these L4Js low level over the front lines, and possibly also given a few rounds towards it. This is Per and me when the paint job is done. Thanks a lot, Per. Then after painting, foolishly thinking that I was almost done. I decided to continue working on the aircraft down in the hangar instead of taking it back home in the garage. Now it got colder and I was alone with the project, and a lot of the task required more than two hands. And to be quite honest, I started losing a bit of the enthusiasm. At this point, out of the blue, my cousin Sander turns up, and he turns the whole thing around. He wants to join in and participate in the restoration. And he has loads of enthusiasm and knowledge, and not to mention tools. So I could not have been any more lucky at this point of the project. Sander came in and he turned the whole thing around from a lonely, cold hangar restoration. It was still cold, mind you. We were working in a hangar in temperature as low as -10, but with a good friend and the enthusiasm was back in the project. He turned the whole thing around, and I can never thank you enough, Sander. Sander and myself, we listened to music during restoration, and we found out that David Bowie was the ultimate background music when restoring aircraft. So we're gonna let David Bowie entertain you in the next few minutes, looking at some pictures from the process.
It's on America's tortured brow that Mickey Mouse has grown up a cow, and the workers have struck for fine, for Lennon's on sale again. See the mice in their million hordes, from Ibiza to the Norfolk Broads. Rule Britannia is out of bounds, to my mother, my dog and clowns. But the film is a saddening bore, for I've lived it 10 times or more. It's about to be lived again, as I ask you to focus on sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. Take a look, oh man, beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if he'll ever know. It's the best-selling show.
This is the big moment when the wings have been put on after almost 3 years of restoration work. Turns out that we had been using the wrong control wire in the wing, so we have to pull that through again with the right one. Anyway, the wings are on. The bolts are on, and suddenly it looks like an aircraft.
Er du knyr det fast?
Ja, jeg knyr det an, vet du. Nå driver jeg og lager dokumentar. BC 659 radio here. That's reflections. Now we are really getting towards the end of the project. It's coming up to June 2015, and the annual air show at Kjeller airport is our deadline. We wanted to roll the plane out at the air show ready to fly. It was basically ready. There was ground runs on the engine and paperwork left to do. 2 words about nose art. I have always admired nose art on the Warbirds, and I wanted a nose art on this L4, even though it wasn't that common in World War II on these light aircraft. Good friend of mine, Roald from the north, he got an early heads up and the task to design the nose art of this aircraft. And since the call sign is Mike Alpha Victor, MAV, we decided to call the plane Maverick. And I think he came up with a brilliant looking nose art for this plane. The lady on the nose art is Martha Vickers, who was a very popular actress and singer during World War II. And in good tradition, the L4 is supposed to have a picture of your girlfriend or wife right up there on the wing spar. Thank you very much, Roald, for your magnificent contribution to this nose art and the restoration. In the last few days before the air show, we were joined by Bart, who I'm sure many of you will know from the L4 community online. Bart came in and contributed with stencils and data on where to put those and all his knowledge about the details of the L4s. So together it was a big moment to roll out the Maverick L4 on the air show at Kjeller, June 2015. It was a magnificent day, started off a bit cloudy, and the sun broke through in the afternoon, and the air show was absolutely magnificent.
Hey guys!
It's 14th of July, and it's a perfect evening for a first flight. It's calm winds, engine runs have been done, all the formalities are done with the Experimental Aircraft Association as well as the CAA, and we are basically ready to go. We had a rough start with a fuel leak, but we fixed that one. And now I'm strapping in for the very first flight in after the restoration. A lot of people want to know if I was nervous, and I think I can confirm that. I wasn't nervous to die at all, but I was very afraid to now go and do something stupid and wreck this beautiful piece of history. The engine was reassembled and had not been in use since 1976, when I was 4 years old. So I was eager to see how that would run on normal power for half an hour. And of course also to test how the aircraft was flying. But we've done our weight and balance, and the rigging looked good, so we're just gonna let the beautiful music from the flying scenes of the movie Out of Africa accompany this really, really special moment of the restoration project.